Welcome in, everybody, to I guess our first, unfortunately, Thirsty Thursday
Midweek.
edition. Midweek. I'm calling it Thirsty Thursday. You want to know why I'm calling it Thirsty Thursday?
Why?
Because we needed a drink after last night. We need a drink after this run of form.
Yeah.
It's just where we're at. It's where the club is at right now. It'd be what it'd be.
7 in a row winless.
Yep. But
in MLS.
Yeah. So this was the first midweek group of matches in MLS this year. And Atlanta's struggling. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about last night. We're going to get you guys prepped for this weekend against Nashville, who also had some really big news today.
Yes, they did.
And we're going to dive into the salary kind of information. Sydney did a great article about that over on scarvesandspikes.com. Tommy is watching his other love sport, which is hockey currently. He's not with us tonight. But Sydney, how you doing, man?
It's definitely a tough loss, very disappointing loss. And, it's like you said, it's tough to really discuss. This is now 7 in a row winless, and you wonder where the end is in sight for this team. We'll talk about Nashville. I kind of jumped the line here. Fired Gary Smith. Well, Gary Smith departed the club, but simply got fired. So does Nashville kind of get that new coach bump or that interim coach bump? Giakoumakis injured, potentially out for Saturday. Almada injured, potentially out for Saturday. So you're going somewhere where you haven't won since 2020. So optimism is kind of low, I feel like, for Lady United fans to get a result out of this one, I think. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I'm not feeling great. We'll talk about Cincinnati. But, I'm not feeling great about Saturday. I don't know about you.
No, I'm not. Not even a little bit. We're going to chat about it. We're going to chat at length about it and this match last night. We're going to dive into a little bit of everything going on around the Atlanta United world. Things are moving quickly. But in the meantime, y'all know, as usual, go check out the website, scarvesandspikes.com. Got articles going up there pretty much throughout the week. I've got a article that's going to be coming out tomorrow, just talking about the season ticket package and fans going to away games. You have Nashville coming up this weekend. Over 1,200 fans that are going to be traveling up to Nashville, which is phenomenal.
That's a lot.
And I'll go on a tangent here in a minute about, understandably, it might be a tough time to be like, I want to drive 4 hours to go see the team. I get it, but it all shall pass in due time. Yeah. I promise. So, but yeah, check out that article. Sydney has a really good article about the most recent salary information that came out. So go check that one out. But also go to the store, get you guys a beer glass or a coffee mug or a hoodie. I know it's hot, but who cares? Some people like to wear hoodies all year round. Plenty of other merch. No, I'm not that person either, but hey, I'll model one if I need to for the website. Go get you something. A beer glass might be good at this point.
Yeah,
it might be useful.
No kidding.
And then and then join the Discord. Join the Patreon to get access to the Discord. It's patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. The Patreon is popping. We're having the Discord is popping. We're having a lot of fun in it. Last night we did a watch along for Patreon folks, and everybody had a great time. Everybody always has a great time. You come in, you chat, you hang out with people that are going through either the same celebration or misery as you are. Unfortunately, last night and recently it's been a little bit more misery than celebration, but that's okay. We all do it together. So
yes, we do.
That's all the I think that's all the notes and keeping the lights on and paying the bills, advertisements and everything for now.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk about Wednesday.
Let's talk
1-0
about
loss against FC Cincinnati. Kevin Kelsey gets his second goal in MLS, first as a starter. Guzan saying after the match, it's scandalous that Lucho Acosta should get 2 headers throughout the game. This is true. Say that again.
A hobbit.
Yeah, 5'5", Lucho Acosta. But I'm just so frustrated watching that first goal. I know you were too, Tyler. Just and
Go ahead.
this can't happen. It can't happen. Like the ball goes, everyone assumes the ball's going out. Dax McCarty is yelling. I know you're saying he was yelling at his teammates, but there's some people that think he was yelling at the AR to make the call that the golf ball had gone out. Still, you have to follow the play. You have to stay with the play, and everyone just kind of shut down. The next thing you know, the ball's in the back of the net. It's 1-0 Cincinnati. Essentially, the match is over because 1-0 lead at Cincinnati is essentially game over because they've allowed 10 goals this season in 11 matches. So that was frustrating to watch. You thought that this kind of thing was in the past, but apparently it's not. And again, your attack doesn't really do what it needs to do to really put pressure on Roman Celentano, who didn't have much to do, I should add, at all. But at the same time, not a bad match, not a terrible match. They didn't get played off the pitch. Granted, Cincinnati, they don't have a lethal attack. They have only scored more than 2 goals, or they've never scored more than 2 goals in a single match all season long. So, yeah, I mean, still frustrating, still, it's just a tough match to go through. But at the same time, not a terrible match. Of course, the big story, Giakoumakis going out, Almada going out very early in the match. So, yeah, that's where I'm pessimistic because those two, Giakoumakis, he lost him to injury, to concussion protocol at the very least, and then his hamstring, and then Almada, his calf. Pineda said he felt tightness, couldn't sprint, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
how are you feeling?
The thing is, like, it's not that there's a ton to unpack in this match. You gave up a really stupid goal. A really stupid goal. Really and was. I actually haven't, that's the first I've heard that people are saying that Dax was yelling at the AR. I got to give more credit to Dax McCarty as a veteran of this game and this league to know better than to throw his hands up at the AR.
Right.
I feel like he was screaming at he was doing the same thing I was doing, which is screaming at the TV, trying to be like, why are we staring at the ball? Why are we staring at the ball? Why are we staring at the ball? Like I have this same conversation with, and it's not a conversation, I'm trying to be nice about it, with youth, like with U12, U14 kids, like play to the freaking whistle. And I get it. It's a cliche. Play until the ball has physically stopped moving outside of the rectangle that you're playing in. It pisses me off to see professionals and grown men make that mistake. Mistakes, fine. The fact that you just watched, everybody just watched this ball take a deflection and then kind of bounce like it was going over the end line. The only one that felt like going to that ball was Lucho Acosta. And what did he do? He put it on a dot. What it reminded me of? It reminded me of in New York City last year when Atlanta took the corner kick that they had, that they scored a goal on. It was a corner kick. Almada took it. It took a deflection back towards Almada, and nobody with New York City shut him down. And he had all the time in the world to pick out Giakoumakis at the far post. That's what it reminded me of. I was having flashbacks, but in the worst possible way. Watching Lucho Acosta just be like, oh, well, I guess nobody's going to shut me down. So let me pick out the brand new 6'4" guy that we just signed from Shakhtar Donetsk and let him do what he wants to do. Like it pisses me off. It pisses me off so bad.
Understandably so. I mean, you knew what Lucho Acosta was capable of. And you don't know what Kelsey's capable of because it's new in the league, but you can't teach height. It's 6'4", and if you get him in the right space, I feel like he's going to hurt you. And he hurt Atlanta on Wednesday night, especially with a player like especially with a player like Lucho Acosta in the fold. I mean, Atlanta United can't make mistakes against the defending MVP of the league, against the Supporters Shield winners, because, like I said, Tyler, if you go up down 1-0 against them, that becomes a major mountain to climb. So we saw it. We saw how this attack is. It has been over the past few weeks, and it was more of the same. So immediately, you have the hill to climb against the defending Supporter Shield winners in a place where that's a tough place to play. And
yeah, and
again,
Lucho
you come away
Acosta
with the
is
loss.
Atlanta's kryptonite anyway. He hates Atlanta. Hates Atlanta. But you just gave him an opportunity. Like, you just gave it to him. Credit to Brad Guzan. He had a couple of good saves. And in I think a bubble, in a different world, Atlanta United didn't play a bad game last night. They didn't. I mean, they weren't clinical again. But besides that really dumb mistake that they got punished on, and I can't even be like, oh, well, they made a weird dumb mistake and got punished. Like, this was like a fundamental dumb mistake.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And you got punished on it. You got punished on it, and then you couldn't fight your way back out of it, because you should have been coming out of that with a point last night. And at least you had something to hang your hat on. But you shot yourself in the foot. I tweeted it before the match. You can't beat yourself, but Atlanta continues to find ways to beat themselves. You've got players that are not having the best run of form, which is equating to the entire team not having the best run of form.
Yeah.
But when you have so many players that are just not playing up to their standard and up to what we know is their ability, this is the result. And yeah, I mean, the coaching staff's got to figure it out. Pineda's got to figure it out. Somebody has to figure out a way to motivate these players and get their heads screwed back on straight. And Brad said it great last night. Like, we have to roll up our sleeves and be men about it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. How many times are you going to say the same thing over and over again, though? I mean, we've heard variation. Yeah, I mean, no, but we've heard a variation of that for weeks, right? We've heard a variation for weeks, and as simple as it sounds, I know it's easier said than done. You just have to do it. You just have to do it. You just have to stay switched on at all times. You just have to defend. You just have to get service to your striker. You just have to follow up shots in the box. You just have to do all those things. And, just frustrating time and time again, this team just continues to not do the things that can help them win. And now this is 7 in a row that you've failed to get a win in MLS play. You're further down the standings. You're expected to be, you wanted to be a top 4 team. You're closer to the bottom than you are at the top. Right now you're on 12 points. You're 5 points off the bottom. Granted, you're 2 points below the playoff line. But at the same time, this team is too good to just be kind of flirting with the playoff line, right? This is, we talk so much about the talent on this team, the skill level on this team, and who they have on this roster. They just have to do it. And at some point, I said this in spaces after that match, at some point, some of it does have to fall on the coach. Some of it has to fall on the coach, to motivate these players and get these players playing at the best of their ability. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on this match. And yeah, it's just
and I'm cycling through some of the comments, and there's a lot here in the chat for anybody listening after the fact on the podcast. Shout out to y'all, by the way, because there are literally thousands of y'all that listen to this after the fact. Come join us live sometime if you can. But I mean, it's on Pineda and the coaching staff absolutely to figure out what's going on and fix it. It's on the players to not make dumb mistakes on the pitch either. Like, I know the thing right now is Pineda out. I get that. I get people being frustrated, and it's not unreasonable for people to feel that way. And I'm not trying to tell people that it's unreasonable to feel that way. There has to be a change, 100%. Whether that's coaching staff, whether that's some magical button that gets flipped and makes everybody, man up and play soccer the way that we know they can play it. Players, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's all going to fall back on the coach. That's just how sports are. I think my biggest thing I'm seeing, like kind of in these comments and then on Twitter, I'm being fair and I'm playing devil's advocate. It's not a formational thing, a tactical thing at this point. I've seen everybody kind of saying like, well, I think maybe more criticism in the past was Pineda's not changing tactics or changing formations or this or that or the other.
Yeah.
If you look at the past 2 matches, he's done some weird stuff with the lineup. I mean, really, like he's thrown some wrenches and tried to make something happen. Now, has it worked? Not really, not in the way that matters, which then should even further prove, I think, what is blatantly obvious to everybody, which is this is a mentality thing. This is like a motivational. You've got to come out. And I think what hurts the worst, obviously, is like at home, you couldn't figure it out. So what do you expect when you go away? But at home, you couldn't come out in front of 42,000 people and put together a 90-minute performance. And that's, I think, where the fans are most pissed off. They're pissed off that Pineda is not fixing it. The players aren't responding to it. And it's, this is not me, my opinion. This is being, the touch that we have on the fan base from the website, from our shows, from spaces, from everything else that we do. The fans are freaking pissed. They're infuriated right now.
They have a right
and they have a right to be. Exactly. They have a right to be.
Like, this is not the fan base is spoiled. This is not that. This is just the fan base wanting results. And they have every right to want results. You can't go 7 winless on the road. I mean, not on the road. You can't go 7 winless and expect to be a champion in MLS. It just doesn't happen. You can't drop, 3 home matches in a row, go 4 winless at home, and expect to win in this league. You just can't. And I mentioned before, you already can't win on the road. You kind of touched it. Now you can't win at home either. And it's just awful. And you have a chance to do it on Saturday. You have a chance to make things right on Nashville or against Nashville. But again, I'm just not optimistic. You're going to be probably missing Almada and Gigi. Gigi, at least due to concussion protocol. But now that stacks the chips even more against you. And, maybe this team surprises me. Maybe this team does get the win. Again, they haven't won in Nashville since 2020. Maybe they surprise me. But, yeah, like I said, it's too good a team to be doing just the same things over and over again.
And, if y'all watch the show or listen to the show, y'all know I'm the optimistic one all the time. I am.
You picked them to lose.
I did.
It's like the first time you've ever picked them to lose.
I did.
Since this show started, I think it feels like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And it's irritating that it's even gotten to that point. Dan, don't hate on our flat bill caps. Go get you one from the website, and you too can be a part of the flat bill club. No, I just, if you were to go to Nashville and win this weekend, celebrate 100%, enjoy it, but that doesn't fix everything. You got to string together a significant amount of wins to make up for how big of a hole you have now dug for yourself. And that sucks. That's a really, really tough mental hurdle to get past. You are now in the grave. You don't have just one foot in the grave. You're pretty much in the casket looking straight up at this point.
Right.
You have to dig deep, like really deep, to pull yourself out of this one. And I'll say what I said on Spaces. I only got on for a minute last night because it was my son's birthday. Be grateful that this is the beginning of the season, relatively. I mean, I know we're about the midpoint, but you have time to fix it. You do. If you were to go on a run right now, or even in a couple of games, the season's not over. All you got to do, this is not Premier League, this is not La Liga, this is not Serie A or anywhere else in the world. All you got to do is make it to the playoffs, and then whatever happens. You're not out of it yet.
22 matches to go, starting with Nashville on Saturday. So, I don't know. I'm tired of talking about it, Tyler.
Me too.
I want to talk about salaries instead.
Yay.
About money.
Talk about money.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell me about the salary.
Yeah, so salary, MLS, of course, does twice yearly salary release, and the most recent one came out for spring and summer, and highest paid player on the club is Giorgos Giakoumakis, just over $2.248 million. Almada making $2.232 million. Guess who? Have you seen this, by the way? Have you seen it?
I have.
Yes, seen it. So yeah, Gregerson 1.1, Lobjanitsa, Zaba just under $1 million, Abram at $871,000. $871,000. And I wrote about it on scarvesandspikes.com. If you want to check out my article, you know, he's maybe one of those players that Atlanta United may have to offload in order to really get yourself into a better place financially, because I mean they aren't as bad as they were. They aren't as bad as they were in recent years, but they still have a long way to go. You have players like Abram making $871K. You have players like Hernandez making $450K, Mosquera $437K, things like that. So again, you're not in the shape you were in previous years as far as the salary cap is concerned, but you still do have a little wiggle room, or you still have a little work to do to get things to where you need to be. And I, for one, feel like, you know, players like, and not to give away too much, Hernandez, Mosquera, Abram, we've talked about in the past. Abram, I feel like it's expendable, right? I mean, it's a big contract, so I don't know if you'll trade him within the league, but he still could be in demand. There could be maybe a club in Peru wants him, or a club in South America that can get him via transfer. It's a lot of money that he is owed this year, but now you have Ka, who has emerged. You have Williams, you have Gregerson. Morales is coming up. So do you need an Abram? Do you need a Mosquera? Do you need a Hernandez? Hernandez making $450 to be a backup, essentially. So just, you have some choices to make still this summer, I think. And those are three players in particular that, I just want to kind of call out. Not in a negative way, but hey, maybe Atlanta needs to put these guys in the shop window to see if they can get a return, because these are very big contracts still that they need to get off the books. And that's not counting Etienne, who they still owe a little bit on, and then the loanies, Ibarra and Sosa. So I guess, what are your thoughts after looking at it?
Yeah, the biggest one to me is Luis Abram. I think it's not just about the salary. I mean, it is a lot, right? But it's also the fact that he's taken up an international slot. He is also being sent out to pretty much every international break. So for your, third, fourth, whatever string center back to be sent out on international break when you need him to be there as a backup doesn't help you at all. And then, I mean, the form that he's in right now just is, I mean, it's okay. It's not what the team needs, though. I would love to see a Noah Cobbs, John Gregerson back line. And then you have other guys just in case. You have plenty of other talent there. Efrain Morales came out and had a phenomenal game against Chicago.
Yeah, it did.
You have depth there, but I think you can get even better depth for a much better price.
Yeah.
Other than that, if I'm just going through on our website, where you have them all listed, I think other ones that stand out to me. I mean, I think Josh Cohen. I think that's fair. 265. We all know
300. 300 actually.
Oh yeah.
Guarantee compensation. Yeah.
We know what's going on with Derek Etienne. Pay Giakoumakis whatever he wants. That's fine. Stian Gregerson.
Truck.
Yeah, exactly. Stian Gregerson, I mean, he's not put a foot wrong, in my opinion. And yeah, Ariel, did anyone see Stian scream WTF? Was he saying that to Abram? I don't know, but I think so. And I know exactly what you're talking about because my wife was even like, "Oh, he's mad." And I was like, "Yeah, he's right." And then let's see. Yeah, Ronald Hernandez. I mean, God, I love the guy to death. I really do. But I just think you at this point, man, you have to have him or somebody there because they have no depth at the fullback position.
He's cut a pretty polarizing figure though with his time during this time with Atlanta United. I mean, you do have, yeah, you're right. You don't have a lot of depth there. So yeah, maybe you do need it, but that's just a lot of money to kind of be a backup for pretty much most of the year. You do have McFadden, but he's loaned out to Louisville City, and they can release or they can end that loan arrangement before the summer transfer window or the secondary transfer window starts. But at the same time, yeah, it's true they need that depth, but I feel like you can get depth anywhere. Certainly on a budget charge of less than $450K.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no shortage of players that they can get and still maybe shop Hernandez to a Venezuelan club or maybe trade him to the club who may be in need of his services, more of his services, and can get out there. He's only played 3 times this season, by the way, with 1 start. That's the guy is making $450K. So there's certainly, I'm sure there is a market for him. But like I said, I mean, Atlanta should have enough money in the bank right now to get a backup and get some depth there.
Yeah.
I was talking about, we were talking about that before the season, right? Outside of Hernandez, adding some depth outside of McFadden, who's on loan, adding some depth at the outside wing or outside backs, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to at this point because, I mean, the way things could go, not just with Atlanta, but with any sports team, you know, you're one injury away from a really bad position.
Yeah.
At that position. So yeah, I think that's got to be one that you have to fulfill in one way or another because yeah, I mean, with what you're paying Ronnie, you could make a really good business decision because yeah, there are teams in this league right now that would love to have Ronald Hernandez, much less anywhere else in this hemisphere. So I think that's definitely a possibility. And you can set yourself up with a lot of wiggle room in the summer by making a move like that. And, you know, Abram, Dan brought up something in the chat that I was going to bring up as well. See, to me, y'all know, I like Mosquera. I really do. But also like him being a U22, that cap is not much.
It's less. Okay.
So I'm okay with that because I feel like Edwin is trending in the right direction. I know that fans will look at him and they'll hit on all the mistakes that he's made. I get it. But he's also provided you some concrete numbers this season as well in terms of assists. And at least he's going out there acting like he freaking wants to be on the pitch, you know? And I'm okay with keeping him. I mean, and that's what you want out of your U22 spots is the kind of diamond in the rough type guys, right? Like you can develop Edwin Mosquera into something. I really feel that way. He's better than he was when he got here by far. I mean, if you look at the numbers, by far, he's way better than he was when he got to Atlanta. So, really quickly, because I see a couple of comments, I wanted to go back. Newman 917 say, what does Pineda have on? Oh, that's not the question I thought. I thought you were asking what does Pineda have to do to the club to keep him employed, not what he has on the club. I was going to say he has to win MLS Cup.
Right.
That's about the only thing I think at this point, honestly. And that's not a knock on Pineda. That's just I don't see it happening.
Yeah, but kind of going back to the budget real quick. Yeah. And there's some other players that kind of stood out real quick before we move on. At the end, 710. Gosh, 710 to get the production of a player that makes probably a tenth of what he makes, or something like that. Atlanta's still on the hook for some of that, but you know, you had to get him off the books. He was making too much money to do really nothing, essentially. And it's just a failed signing for Atlanta United for whatever reason. We don't know what goes on in the locker room. We only see these guys on the training ground and on the pitch, and it just didn't add up for Derek for whatever reason. Definitely wish him the best. Looks like he's still trying to break into the lineup under Herdman in Toronto, but that was a number you really had to get off the books. And then Ibarra and Sosa, you're still paying them, although not as much, with Ibarra, Rosario, and then Sosa at Racing Club. So they're on loan, but you still have some money to pay toward them as their parent club. So maybe, either of those teams buy those respective players. I don't think the loan includes a purchase option. I looked it up earlier. It doesn't look like it. But,
which one?
For both Ibarra and Sosa. So Ibarra with Rosario and then Sosa with Racing Club.
I actually think they do. I think Boca.
He may have said it. I didn't see it in the release. I didn't see a release. He may have said it later. If they do, I mean, if they can get those players transferred, if Rosario or Racing want to bring them on, I'm sure Atlanta would let them take them. I mean, their contracts end after this season. I bet they both have options, though. So I don't think either of them are coming back.
No.
But I think you do very well to get those guys off the books and maybe make Rosario and or River an offer they can't refuse, and not only open up a U22 slot, which again you get that budget relief to the U22, but then you open that slot up and maybe you can make a play for maybe a winger or maybe a outside backup or maybe a position in need. So it's just kind of my 2 cents.
I think that's the thing too. Like you're trending in the right direction. You're trending in the right direction in terms of I think the way, again, this is coming from people who don't have the massive, book that explains all of MLS's roster rules as best as we can look at things. Yeah. But, I mean, even if you just look at some of the more recent signings since Garth has been here, compared to ones from before he was here, you've got, let's see. So you see like Franco Ibarra again, 660,000.
200K though.
Yes. Yeah. Now, yes, obviously with the U22 and all that. Yeah. But you look at what you got Sean De Silva for 604. Slish guaranteed 830. I don't know that people would argue that that's necessarily a bad thing right now for guys that are going to be getting starting minutes. 566 for Tristan Muyumba. So if you were to take those 3 players and subtract 3 of the ones that you are or could be getting rid of or have gotten rid of, I mean, you freed up a few $100,000 right there. So you're trending in the right direction. You've got guys that you're paying, I think, fairly. Bruno asking, would you take Ibarra as a backup? Probably not, because I just think there's a little bit of a sore subject there, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Plus he's 23, so that U22 would come off the board relatively soon.
I mean, I have a couple of years, but then you'd have to renegotiate things.
But I don't see him coming back to Atlanta United. I mean, the bridge has been burned, unfortunately. So
Derek Williams, you're getting him for a steal. I know we were talking with Gray about that earlier. So yeah, I mean, I think you're again, you're going in the right direction. It's not all fixed yet. It's not, but you're getting there. And speaking of Gray, wanted to ask you this as well. Gray asking, how do y'all feel about Josh Cohen and Jaden Hibbert as your two goalkeepers next year? That's only $300,000 against the cap. And do you bring Brad back on his last option?
I think Hibbert still needs some time with the twos. He hasn't started a whole lot with Atlanta United too. They've got with John Burner. I feel like it's their number one option. So I feel like at this point, Cohen is your number one next year. I think Guzan either does retire or maybe looks to end his career elsewhere. So I think he's the number one. He was always going to be the number one, granted. But I don't think it's Hibbert at this point in time, at least, because he still has some time, some growing to do. I think he needs some more experience with the twos. So I feel like maybe they bring in an experienced backup behind Cohen, while Hibbert is essentially your third goalkeeper, your number one keeper with Atlanta United too. I feel like you can free up some money still with that arrangement. So that's just my 2 cents as of now.
Yeah, I mean, if you could convince Quentin Westberg to come back for another year,
that'd be great.
Right now, you give, and that's the thing, Jaden. He's in the position that he's in now. I think to learn from Brad, John Burner, the guys at Quentin Westberg, the guys that are there.
Cohen.
I still think, Cohen. I think he's going to get the time with the twos, regardless. I have seen him in training. We've seen him at a couple of games. And I mean, I think he's going to be a very, very solid keeper for this team. But you leave yourself in a really weird, 2022 situation if you get rid of Brad and Quentin, and then you're left with Cohen and Jaden Hibbert.
Yeah. You need a contingency plan for sure.
Yeah. But I think you got to have three that you can really rely on, and don't put Jaden under so much pressure that he feels like he's got to go and be in like a Rocco Rios Novo situation,
right?
From a couple of years ago.
Right. Little plug. We're going to do a Patreon recording this weekend to kind of dive into the salary cap. Not the salary cap, but dive into this budget. What am I trying to say? The salary guide is what I'm trying to say.
We're going to go into this bull crap that is the salary information. No, try to make sense of it all.
We'll do it as a Patreon episode with Tommy. Just be on the lookout for that if you're a patron, and if you're not, sign up to be one. Highest paid players in MLS, by the way, just real quick. Messi at $20.4 million. Insigne still up there, 15.4. Busquets 8.7. Shaqiri 8.1. Chicago may just be better off just burning that money.
Dude, yeah. Hey, I will take a quarter of what you're paying Shaqiri, and I promise you I will give you more of a heartfelt effort than Shaqiri has given you.
That's just a horrible sighting for Chicago, and he's tied up for at least another year. And then Driussi from Austin, 6.7. So that's the top 5. Bernadeschi.
That one blows my mind.
Driussi?
Yeah, Sebastian Driussi making that much money. And, a couple of years ago, I could have
seen more production than Shaqiri at 8.1.
Yeah. But still, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
For sure. I'll just read all the top 10. Bernadeschi, 6.29 million. Forsberg, the new signing for Red Bulls, just over 6 million. And then Herrera, 5.2 for Houston. Hanimutar, 5.21. Nashville, who we'll see on Saturday. And here, Carlos here for the Revs, 4.45. So that's the top 10. But go to scarsandspikes.com. And I have the full breakdown there. I corrected myself, and I said that I forgot again that Mosquera won't count. His entire budget number won't count since it's U22. So I still feel like they could get off the books, but I made that correction. So scarsandspikes.com. Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. And again, have a good article coming out tomorrow. about the season ticket holder package, especially the away benefit to where you can go. And I mean, if you're a season ticket holder, you can go to away games.
Yeah.
The ticket's paid for as part of your package, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
Have some cool information on that. And for those who, because I've asked, I know I asked last week for people that were season ticket holders who traveled to reach out, and I really appreciate it because a lot of y'all did. During that kind of interaction with some of these fans and season ticket holders, it seems like there are a couple of benefits that people aren't super aware of. And that can be for a variety of reasons, whatever, but hopefully this article will help you make sense of it all. if nothing else, you'll know everything that you have as a season ticket holder. And I know we're talking about being a season ticket holder during one of the worst stretches of history. It is what it is.
Counterintuitive.
Yeah, we'll get there, guys. We'll get back. This is temporary pain. It will not last forever. Continue to be the great fans that you always are, because my nightmare is seeing a half full or empty bins.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. We have worked. Everybody has worked. The fans have worked way too hard to make this city into what it is as a soccer cathedral. And don't give it up just because the team sucks right now.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, it'll get better. It'll get better sometime, some way. Want to talk about Nashville?
I do.
You have something else on your mind there?
I'm trying to think of what it was I had on my mind, and now I'm like, I'm tripping because it was something that I was going to say before we got to Nashville. Maybe I'll just like interject in the middle of us talking about Nashville just to be like, hey, this is what I was thinking. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Nashville.
Yeah. So Nashville, of course, parting ways with Gary Smith after, I was 4 years, 7 years. He's been their coach since their USL Championship days. So they have a new coach. Well, not a new coach, but an interim head coach coming in from their academy, and he'll be in there leading the team. His first time in the technical area as the interim head coach, Rimba Muntali. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Rimba Muntali.
That sounds right,
yeah, he's their player development coach. He'll be the interim head coach of Nashville SC while they look for their next head coach. But yet Smith has been there for a while, for 4 years. And I think just the time was right for him to leave. They beat Toronto, of course, 2-0, but Toronto were very shorthanded. So maybe not as big a victory as you would think, but still, this is a national team who has struggled mightily since Leagues Cup. They've been to the playoffs every year since Gary Smith had been in charge. And right now, they're 10th, just below the playoff line, tied with Philly with iron points, but have a goal differential tiebreak, losing the goal differential tiebreak. So the season we're at end today, they'll be out of the playoffs. But yeah, it's a new chapter for Nashville. Interested to see who they go toward and who they pull in. So I guess, what do you think? What did you think of the news when you heard Nashville was parting ways with Gary Smith? Were you surprised or?
Nope.
No.
So, funny story. I'm gonna toot my own horn for a second. First of all, I will preface it by saying this: I'm never a big fan of when anybody gets fired, because I know Atlanta is up in arms right now. Atlanta fans are calling for Pineda, and God knows New England is in shambles, and there are a handful of teams that are going through some crap right now.
Could be worse.
Yeah. These are people, this is their livelihood. And I understand totally that this is part of what you're getting into when you take this kind of job. So that is not lost on me, but I'm never going to celebrate when somebody loses their job. That's just who I am. It is what it is. With that being said, back at the beginning of the season, and I'm not going to name names, but sitting in the training ground during the preseason. There was a handful of media, all of us media folks there, and we were just kind of having the chat, as everybody does, like what team's going to be good this year, what team's going to suck this year. And part of the conversation was what head coach is going to be the first one to be fired this year. And it went around. There was a handful of names that got thrown out. Caleb Porter was one. They just got there. There was a handful that were thrown out, right? But mine was Gary Smith, because I contend that whatever happened at the end of Leagues Cup last year broke that entire team. They have not been the same since. I don't know what it was about that loss, and I know that was a tough one, but it broke them, and they have not looked the same since. And they were already, to be fair to Gary Smith, they're a fragile team because they've only had one consistent goal scorer, and the fact that he has been able to do what he can do, Hani Mukhtar, to be an MVP and put up the production that he has, it's a testament not only to Hani Mukhtar but also Gary Smith for designing the team in a way that was effective for what he had. But it was always one little piece from falling apart, and it fell apart.
And they signed Surridge. In hopes of really sparking that attack, but it's just taken Surridge a while to come through, or come good, I should say. Looks like he's off to a little bit of a better start this season for Nashville, but I'm sure the return on investment certainly hasn't been there. So last year, he had just 2 goals in 9 matches. He has 5 and 10 this season, so he started to heat up in the big way. And it's just like that sometimes I feel like with some players, it takes a little bit longer to adjust to a new country, a new league, and that's certainly with Sturridge, it looks like he had to go through. So now you have that in the mix. You have Hani Mukhtar, of course, a former MVP in this league. Actually, let me caveat that on Sturridge. He has 5 goals, but 3 were against Montreal, so maybe.
But Montreal's been good this year, though.
Yeah, so they have been. So obviously, Hani Mukhtar is the star man for Nashville, and he always has been, really, since this team came to MLS from the USL Championship and brought him in. He's been one of the more consistent players in MLS. It just seems like this season has been kind of a step back for him. And as he goes, this team goes. And right now, through 10 matches, he has 2 goals and 4 assists. But that's kind of below the standard that we expect from Hani Mukhtar. This is a guy who scored 23 times in 2022, 15 times last year, and he's had 50 or more goals between 2021 and 2023. So maybe it's taking him a little bit longer to get hot, really taking him a lot longer to get his feet underneath him this season, but he's still a very dangerous player. And we saw it with Akasa. You just need one moment to work your magic. And if Lady United aren't careful, that's what can happen against them when Mukhtar takes the field on Saturday. Again, place that they haven't won Atlanta since 2020. That was at Nissan Stadium, granted, but this is a city that has, or a team that has traditionally given them a lot of trouble. So they have that stacked up against them. They also have, like we said, Gigi Almada. Chances of them playing are kind of slim. We'll learn on Friday what the prognosis is. But like I said earlier, chips are kind of stacked against Nashville. And here they come in with interim head coach that they'll look to try to impress and really show that, hey, our season isn't over. We still have a long way to go. So they're like Atlanta United. So 2 teams really with a lot to prove. I feel like Nashville has the edge, though, right?
I mean, they do, considering your injuries. Now, I will say, Giorgos Giakoumakis being out sucks. Almada being out sucks. You're not going to replace what you get with them on the field. But you've got Jamal Tiare back, who was having a great run before he got injured. Daniel Rios.
Yeah.
I like Daniel Rios a lot, actually. I really do. And
You're returning to Nashville. First time in Nashville since he left the team.
Yeah, and sometimes it's, hey, that might be a little bit of a mind game. Also, Dax McCarty, I would like to see him play against Nashville.
Yeah.
This is an interesting match in a lot of ways, psychologically, and of course, like the coaching issues, the form issues. There's so many things about this one. Chris saying in the chat, this feels different than 2020, which was no Joseph, no chance. This team is just underachieving and in bad form, but has talent. My conspiracy theory in the universe is everything went to garbage. Everything in 2020 when that match happened where Joseph injured his knee. And then COVID. It turned awful. Now, here we are again. Things are awful. Awful in terms of the way Atlanta United is playing right now.
Well, I know where you're going, but let me caveat and say, I'm not being negative. That was at a different stadium. But I see where you're going. Go ahead.
Screw that. I'm trying to take wins where I can get them. Now they go back and they burn a little bit of sage. They do a rain dance, whatever they got to do, and they set the universe back where it needs to be. Everything was good. Everything was good up until that moment. I remember watching that moment live and thinking, man, this freaking
I was
sucks.
there.
See?
I was in the press
box. Making the trip?
Sitting next to Doug. No, I won't be there. I was sitting next to Doug. I remember in the press box. But yeah, that was the last time they've won in Nashville. It's pretty crazy. That it seems like it's ages ago, but it's really not.
This is the moment to fix it. This is where you fix it all. This is where you set the universe back to where it needed to be.
So what's your prediction?
Dang it. There was no segue into that.
Would you rather I have segued into it though, or
yeah, because
sometimes it's just good to just get it out,
2-2.
2-2. Who scores?
Hani Mukhtar will get a brace because this team has not shown that they can figure out how to stop somebody doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I will say Jamal Tiare.
Okay.
We'll get another one. And Saba.
Saba's, I feel like we've been saying he's due, but he scored kind of fluky goal. They scored at the end of the loss at home the other week. But I feel like he's been goal dangerous to an extent, and I feel like he could maybe string a goal or two together. So I don't know if he'll score on Saturday. I feel like this is a game where Xande Silva scores. I feel like Xande Silva scores for Atlanta. I feel that they won't be goal dangerous as they would be. They'll still kind of struggle to, get things going offensively in the attack. But I feel like it might be a 1-1. I feel like Mukhtar scores, like he said. I feel like Silva scores. I don't know. Just call it a hunch. Just a hunch. Just a feeling. So 1-1 Atlanta. I mean, they still won't beat Nashville straight up, but at least they'll have gotten the draw and taken some of the nasty taste out of your mouth from the loss in Cincinnati. Maybe give yourself a little bit to go off of when you head to Charleston, because Charleston is the one that you have to win. But you don't want to look ahead to that. You got to take care of business against Nashville. You got to play Nashville first. And yeah, again, I say 1-1, Mukhtar for Nashville and Xande Silva for Atlanta United.
So let's talk about this real quick. And as I'm getting this ready, so Chris saying another Brooks Lennon banger to undo the curse.
Yeah.
Derek 1-1 ATL scores first and gives up another dumb goal. Bruno really trying to get rid of the curse. What about if they both score in this game? Atlanta's winning MLS Cup. Period. And then Jack saying 2-0 loss for Atlanta. I don't see us scoring without Gigi and Almada. So this is the thing I want to say. I was not unhappy with the way that this team progressed the ball and played, even after Almada went out in this last match. I understand that Almada is always going to be your engine in the attack, or should be. But I don't want to say like I didn't notice a difference, because there is a difference in the way that they had to play, not having Almada on the pitch. But this team figured out a way to at least make something happen without Almada. And we can talk about his numbers all day this season. That's fine. There are goals for this team, even without Thiago Almada and Giorgos Giakoumakis. Now, I understand it's a tall order being away from home, and with everything else that we've talked about in this episode and every other one for the past like 4 weeks. But this team can score goals. Jamal Tiare's got goals in him. Daniel Rios has goals in him. Saba has goals in him. Shande has goals in him. I need Shande to get right. Shande will get right sooner or later, and things will be good. But sometimes it's looking at form. Giakoumakis and Almada have not been in the best form over the past month and a half. So it would be different if we had lost Giakoumakis after he just scored a hat trick, right? But you're not. And that's not to say they're not trying. Giorgos Giakoumakis is one of the most passionate people I've ever seen in my life. But he hasn't scored goals in a while. So it's got to come from somebody. And we'll sit there and talk about how Giorgos Giakoumakis is always going to be the first string guy, and he is. That's not going to change. But you better believe that Jamal Tiare and Daniel Rios are not okay with just being backups. Like they're gonna do what they can to make a case. They'd have to make one hell of a case to take over that spot from Giakoumakis. But don't discount the fact that they can go out and put the ball in the back of the net, especially in the way that they do, which is they're big guys, they're tall guys, they're physical guys. And they're just a little bit different than Giaco, which is something that other teams aren't going to account for as much in their preparation.
Again, you just got to do it, right? You just have to do it.
Just got to put the ball in the back of the net. It's that simple, guys.
Yeah, get the ball in the back of the net. Sometimes all it takes is just one winning result to get yourself back on the track. And again, I don't know if they can do it, but it'll be great to see them do it. I don't know if they'll have the attacking ability to do it, but it'd be great to see them do it. Let's get to Gray's question in the chat, saying who's the connector between the midfield and the attackers for the group.
To chat about this real quick for a minute.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I mean, you've got a lot. Like it's really hard to predict right now. Like I think in the beginning of the season, it was pretty easy to say what the starting 11 would be for the most part. I don't know that you're going to play 3 center backs unless you have Derek Williams.
Which I don't think you will.
Yeah.
If you do, he'll be questionable.
Yeah, I don't think he sees time this weekend. But it's possible. I think though, you still have to stick with like what you've been training. Like it's one thing to switch up formations a little bit and tactics a little bit, but it's an entirely different thing to just throw everything you've been training out the window. So like, I agree. Like Justin saying, I want to see 2 up top.
Maybe you see that.
Yeah. Jack saying Slish is the only player at the moment who gives me slight positives. I think if it were me, all things considered, getting really weird with the way that you have to, also considering the fact that you just played yesterday, you're on short rest. I think you end up with Stian Gregerson and Noah Cobb at the back. I think you're still going to have Brooks. You're still going to have Caleb. So there's your typical back four, right? I think you're going to start off probably with Slish and
Muyumba, right?
Huh?
Muyumba, right?
I think Muyumba, yeah, because he didn't start. Yeah. But I would expect like Dax at the half, right? If you're looking at this in terms of a traditional like 4-2-3-1, like your number 10, I think that on paper you got to look at Firmino. You know, I mean, Jay played a lot, so I wouldn't want to stick him right back out there. Firmino could have a game. I feel like he's always got a game in him. I mean, he's kind of struggled a little bit this year in terms of like being in that purgatory between like MLS and you know the second team and all. But I think he could have a decent match. And then Saba is never going to stop running. And I hope Shande has 70 minutes in him. And then you start off with probably Daniel Rios. I think that's what's going to happen. What I would like to see, just real quick before you dive in, something a little more traditional. So same back four. And then I'll say Slish, Muyumba. So there's your two. And then I would almost do like another two with Saba. And if you can get Shande and take the number 10 out of it and then put two up top.
Okay.
So like a 4-2-2-2 or a 4-4-2, whatever you want to call it.
Don't forget about Tuesday and who you see out there. So you're going to have to make some decisions too based on Tuesday. So maybe you do start Rios with the intent to start TRA on Tuesday. I feel like TRA is your top striker. That's if Giakoumakis can't go. But you do have some decisions to make with Open Cup on Tuesday. And I don't think they'll rotate that much because you need this match. Like we said, that's your best chance at a trophy this year. So what that rotation looks like, what that roster looks like, 11 looks like, I should say, against Nashville is just going to be so vital because you need to really pick your spots and you really need to just be mindful of, okay, we need to win this game on Tuesday. Doesn't mean dump Saturday and just ignore it, but just knowing that you need to win both. Tommy is joining us all of a sudden.
Up?
What's going on?
Did we win?
No.
Not yet.
Oh. The
Are you
hockey game didn't work out.
Going into the game?
It didn't work out.
Oh.
The prices got jacked up. It was like $14, and all of a sudden it was like $45 to get in. So we went and saw The Strangers, Chapter 1.
How was it?
How was it?
What's up?
I liked it.
You liked it, so
good.
Sweet.
Does Atlanta win on Saturday?
You silly goose.
What is your prediction then?
2-0. Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. Bummer.
Yeah.
Did you do your hair?
Say that.
That's all I came to say.
Okay.
Did you do your hair?
Did I do my hair? I mean, I don't know. I put gel in it.
Oh. Looks a little fancy.
It's very sunny right now.
I can tell.
Yeah. But yeah, I just came to say hi.
Hola. Well,
hi.
For the record and for posterity, I've predicted a 2-2 draw.
That's a 1-1.
Okay.
1-1 draw. So.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I'm the only jerk here.
Me being a jerk didn't work in our favor, so I'm back to being nice.
I mean, if you don't have Giakoumakis and Almada, you're screwed.
See, I just got done making the case that you're okay. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I mean, they're okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I didn't even know it was an afternoon game until like yesterday.
Yeah, 1:45 kickoff. Well, 12:45 Central Time. So it's like right in the middle of lunch hour for them.
Yeah.
So
is Nashville in the Central Time Zone?
Yeah,
it is.
You didn't know
I always
that?
forget that. It doesn't feel like it should be. That feels wrong.
I know.
Yeah, it's weird, that area. But yeah, I mean, I just don't feel confident. I still think they win Open Cup. Not the whole thing, but this week at least.
Tuesday.
Oh, I was like, dang, okay.
Yeah.
No, I think they win this. I think they win. I know the Battery's on a run. They're in good form and they're winning, but I think that they put together. The real question is if they lose, what happens to does he stay?
Thank you. What till Tuesday to make that decision?
And what if you win?
See what happens on Tuesday.
I mean, Nashville fired their coach after a win.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. You gotta take a political question, political answer. Say we'll see.
It is a tough position, and I'm not getting paid money to be the one making that decision.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, neither of us are.
I mean, that would be weird, but I mean, the Benz, if he's still here, and you lose in Nashville, I still think whether you win or lose against the Battery, it's gonna be interesting for you guys because you're gonna be there. It'll be interesting for me to hear on TV. What's the fans like?
Well, I won't be there on next Saturday. I'll be out of town. Tyler will
Lucky
be there.
you.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be watching. I'm sure I'll be watching. But no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect time to say this. I was thinking about this earlier because I've heard a lot of people saying, like the only way to, fix this is to stop spending money and stop coming to the matches. And that is certainly a way, I think.
Or yell at Pineda in line. Did you see that one?
Oh, you have to do that. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
Well, no, the guy said he wanted to tell. I don't know. I was getting into it with someone on Twitter earlier.
I did not see this specifically.
Oh, well, it was two options: don't stop spending money, or yell at Pineda in the walking line in the way of the game. I'm like, look, you could tweet whatever you want, but don't start harassing the guy while they're walking in. That's not the way of doing. I said that. I think my tweet was that's what Philadelphia fans would do.
Yeah, no kidding.
Philadelphia fans, or they would throw stuff at them.
They do Santa Claus.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on Twitter, and I'm sure you guys have said the same thing. Or I said on Spaces, eventually, whether they feel Pineda's the guy or not, it's going to become a PR issue at some point. If it's getting louder, we asked the Cincinnati, was it Gray that we talked, or not Gray? I forget his name. The guy from Cincinnati,
Boston.
Okay.
Boston,
yeah. Were fans wearing bags over their heads when they were, the spoon winners, consecutive years. I mean, that's the stuff that you start seeing. That's the stuff that starts going on, well, not ESPN, because ESPN doesn't care about MLS anymore. Now they don't have it. But I mean, just in general, those are things that you're going to start seeing, or the chants that we heard in the last game. This will eventually become a thing where it's just a save face with the fans, and it's getting louder. If it just continues, I just don't think there's a way that he's here.
Well, and that's the thing. Again, it's not going to the bins that's gonna make a change. And at the end of the day, I will tell everybody this right now. The club is well aware of how everybody feels. It's not like there is a wall there and the club is not hearing the way that you feel. I can tell you, I promise you, the club knows how everybody feels. You actually have, for whatever change you want to make, whether, whoever agrees with it, the best thing that you can do is use what has been such a beneficial thing for Atlanta in the past in terms of attendance, showing up and being loud. Use it to express how you feel. You saw a little bit of it at the last home match. We all saw it. We all heard it. It is what it is. That's how you get attention, I think, on a bigger scale. And I'm not sitting here trying to tell anybody how to go and, cause a ruckus. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you can still pack in the bins and support the team while expressing maybe your frustrations with the team by not.
Don't storm the Mercedes-Benz Capitol. You don't want to do that. Please, all right, Andrew, Mr. Carlton, if you're listening, don't head to the suite. Don't go there.
Yeah. Be civil about it.
Yeah.
Don't be jerks.
Don't
be idiots.
Leave the ice cream machine alone.
Yeah.
Leave the ice cream machine alone. Don't break it.
Please don't break that ice cream machine, guys. Please don't.
Yeah, Ariel's like, if we don't win the next home game, I'm booing. Like, that's fine. Like, and that's just what happens in sports. You see it. I mean, again, it's other leagues, but like you see fans that go to their own sporting events and wear bags over their heads or bring signs or whatever like that they do. I mean, that's just what you can do as a fan. You have the option to boo. You have the option to cheer. Whatever you want. I mean, it's going to be there. And like I said, eventually I do think, whether they want to, like, whether they feel like it's the best thing for the team to hold on to them, you just might not be able to do it. You might not be able to do it because you might just have to stay faced with the fans. And I think that's what a lot of people are saying. And people are upset that you see Nashville do this and you didn't. Yeah. And, that then what's his face had way more success than Pineda has over the years, right? Just wasn't able to get them over the hump. Made the playoffs every year. Obviously it's been a struggle this season for them. I don't know. Oh man, Justin says he's buying a bag tomorrow. Don't tell him that Tommy sent you with the bag. Just don't do that. Don't tell him that I told you to do that. Blame this kid.
What did I do?
Yeah, nothing. blame Ryan.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go get some ice cream. So
have fun. Enjoy.
See ya. Oh,
sorry about the hockey game. It works for you. It works for you. No balloons. You have hearts. We have balloons. We have thumbs up clouds. But yeah. All
right. Well,
enjoy.
I'm gonna go sell paper bags outside.
That's actually a good little. All right.
There you go.
Yeah. Sell that and just make sure I get a piece because it was my idea. Unless the front office asks. Bye, guys.
See you
later, Tommy. Thanks.
What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, because Anthony says it's hard to believe this front office takes the fan base seriously. I promise you. I promise you.
Do.
They hear you. They hear you.
Do. It feels like they don't, but they do.
They hear you.
But yeah, just win on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just win on Saturday.
Win.
And look
it
good.
Doesn't fix everything, but it could be the stepping stone to getting things back on the right track. You have to. You're not on the track right now. You just got to get back on the track and hope that you can carry it forward.
Exactly.
Just move it forward.
Exactly.
So, any final thoughts?
That was my final thought.
No, just win. Omar 3-1 Nashville coming in and just popping the balloon. I mean, it's fair. It's fair, except for the fact that Nashville doesn't score goals normally.
Yeah. Scarsandspikes.com if you want to join us there. Always welcome your feedback. Let us know what you think of the show on X, on YouTube, on YouTube. Leave a comment on YouTube if you're watching or listening after the fact. All that good stuff. And Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Again, doing a Patreon-only episode talking about the salary guide. So join us there this weekend, and we'll be discussing that. But yeah, it's been great, Tyler. Been a little bit cathartic to talk about it.
A little bit. Look, guys, we do this. It's this and Spaces. It's free therapy. You don't have to pay a copay or anything. You can come here and get out whatever you got to say. Say whatever you got to say. I wish it were more celebratory recently, but this is where we're at. It's okay. Again, it'll pass.
Yeah. Someday.
Spaces tomorrow. Wait a minute. No, Spaces Saturday. So come hang out with us there.
Win, lose, or draw.
That'll be a weird one too, because it'll be like the middle of the afternoon.
I know.
That might be a little spicy.
Gives us a chance to watch matches later on too. So
yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the last time Atlanta had one of these really, really early matches on the road, they won 3-0, if I'm not mistaken, against Charlotte. So just trying to give you guys some positivity.
Yes. All right. Well, shall we?
Let's do it.
With the music.
We will see y'all next week. Speaking
be
of,
nice, be civil.
Yes, don't throw
kind.
things. Anybody is in Charleston, be loud. Show up, show out. That's the closest thing you're going to have to a trophy at this point. So
Yeah,
be there and be loud and be happy and be proud. And hopefully you're coming off of a win this weekend.
exactly.
And I will be collecting the money for Tommy's paper bag. Here. He doesn't know that, and he will never know that.
Are you wanting to cut too?
Yes, and I'm going to take it however I can get it.
All right, thanks everyone. So long.
See ya.